Mountain bike shocks are high-performance products that require maintenance to get best performance and avoid damage. Check your shock manufacturer's recommended service intervals, or consult with us to know when is the best time to have your suspension serviced. When you bring your shock to Oak Bay Bikes, we start off by dyno testing the shock, trying to diagnose any issues you might be having with the product. We then take the shock apart, checking for any visible damage to the seal beds or sliding surfaces. We then take a look for any contamination inside the shock and the condition of the damping oil before we do a deep clean on the entire shock. We then replace all the seals inside the damper, the control units, and the air canister of the shock. If you have a coil shock, we do a detailed inspection of the coil spring and where it sits on the shock. If there is any damage to the sliding surfaces or seal beds, we'll go ahead and replace the necessary parts to make sure the shock is 100%. We grease all seals on install with suspension-specific grease and replace the damper oil with factory recommended oil. We then bleed the damper system, removing all air from the oil. We replace all the air seals on the air canister and install it on the shock with the correct lubricant. We replace the air valve cores as needed and replace the air and damper settings to the customer's original settings. Now that the shock service is finished, we replace the DU bushings and retest the shock on our dyno tester, making sure that everything is fully functioning and working to factory spec. We service most suspension brands in-house and are the most comprehensive suspension service center on Vancouver Island. We have a close relationship with many other service centers who service niche brands and products to make sure that your suspension components get serviced to the highest quality. It's best to service your shock at the recommended service intervals well before you're actually having a serious problem with the product. Over time, the oils and grease inside your shock degrade and there could be damage to the internals of the shock without even knowing it. Don't wait until it's too late. Come talk to the experts at Oak Bay Bikes and make sure that your product is working 100%.